Next, we're taking a look at the law of cosines. And unlike the law of sines, the law of cosines we actually have two rules for, depending on if you're solving for a side or an angle. So if you're solving for a side, we're going to use this first formula here. And the one thing to keep in mind when using this formula is that the side that's all by itself on one side of the equal sign is across from the angle that you take the cosine of. Similar to the law of sines, this works for any triangle, and you just want to make sure that the angle and the side are across from each other, same as in law of sines. If you're looking to solve for an angle, the same thing. The angle that you're looking for is across from that first side that you put in the formula, and the other two sides show up twice. So just make sure you're keeping track of which side is across from which angle. This example, we're looking at a pitcher's mound, so we need to know that in a baseball field, because we're not given any angles in this question, that the angle made at home plate is a 90-degree angle, and that the pitcher's mound is straight back from home plate. We also need to know that it is not in a direct line from third to first base. The pitcher's mound is slightly behind the line that would be directly from first to third. So we do not know what this angle is up here. We do know it is not a right angle, but because it's a square, and if we continued the line through the pitcher's mound, it would land at second base, this cuts the angle in half. It's the diagonal of the square, and angles are bisected by their diagonals in a square. So now we're going to label our sides. The distance from home plate to the pitcher's mound is 43 feet. And then the distance between home plate and first base is 60 feet. And we are looking for the distance from the pitcher's mound to first base. So setting up our law of cosines. This time we are solving for a side, so we are going to use that first formula. X squared equals, we take the other two sides and square them and add them. So we have 43 squared plus 60 squared. And I remember this formula by doing minus 2 because there's two sides that we multiply together next, those other two sides that we know. Just kidding, 60. Times the cosine of the angle across from that side that we're looking for. So in our picture, x is across from that 45-degree angle. At this point, I punch all of this into my calculator. Your calculator knows order of operations, so do not try to be smarter than your calculator. If you break this up, you may end up breaking it up in a place where you're not supposed to. So just put all of this in your calculator. Your calculator can handle the math. So I got for our x value about 1,800.329 feet, but of course this is x squared, so we need to take the square root of that to get the distance from the pitcher's mound to first base, which is about 42.43 feet. And you have two you-try questions. Do the best you can to set up a picture for that first one, and the second one, the picture is given to you. The first question is a law of sines question, and the second one is a law of cosines.